Hello and welcome to the round 2 review. It's George from Fantasy Take TV. This week we scored 2,199. That's okay, not great. And then we are ranked 31k and pathetic. But I think over the next few weeks, hopefully move up a little bit. I think I'm happy where the team's going. I think there's probably one or two things I'm not happy with. And other than that, I think we can sit on the team for a while. Maybe get like a Samson Ryan next week or something, but see how we go. But yeah, if you were following on Twitter, I spent the weekend in Melbourne. It was a 2-day trip, turned into a 3-day trip. We'll get to that in a second, but yeah, it was really good to catch up with some of the boys. Caught up with, got to remember all these names here. Caught up with Eno, caught up with JD for the first time. It was good to see him. Caught up with Joe from the Centre Bounce. Caught up with STS Supercoach. Saw Top 10 Tommy at the footy. Saw Spills. He came with us at the footy as well, which is fantastic. So yeah, really happy to see those boys and a whole bunch of Discord boys as well. Always good to see them. So speak to them most days in through Discord anyway, but it's good to see them in person. And yeah, very, very grateful to have or be involved with a great community and a good bunch of blokes. So it was a good trip. Yeah, went to a few games, saw the Nick Dacos show, a few melts from a few people we brought in Horn Francis. Watched the Tigers and the Crows at the pub. Eno, which was pretty annoying for me, but he was happy. And then went to the night game of the Dogs and St Kilda. What are the Dogs doing? We'll speak about Bevo after. And then the next day went to the Bombers game with a whole bunch of Bombers supporters. And I dare say I've never seen a supporter group cheer harder for 50s or 50-meter penalties than goals. And there's just, I don't know what it is with Bombers supporters, but they seem to discuss umpiring a lot more than other supporters. So a bit weird, a bit of a weird bunch, but I'm only stirring him up, but no, it was a good experience. As much as I love taking the piss out of the Bombers, I was kind of happy for him to see a win and being well coached and whatnot. So that was good. So yeah, it's just like a marathon of footy. So it was good to be in Melbourne. Today hit a bit of a snag. It was a bit of a disaster. So basically what happened was, and by the way, I've actually recorded this video already. Done 20 minutes and I realized my red dot is flashing on my mic, which means it's muted, so I'm just redoing this whole thing. But anyway, so this morning I got a flight at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, one of the two. It would have been 6 in the morning and I got up at 4. Check my phone, and it says your flight has been cancelled. Okay, I got the day off today, go back tomorrow, so hopefully I can get a flight today or whatever. Like, not good, maybe I can like grab a flight in 2 hours or something. So line up at the desk, all these people like lining up for their flights that are cancelled, and I finally speak to the person and they're like, yeah, no worries, we'll refund your flight, we can get you onto the next one. I was like, yeah, good, yeah, great, get me onto the next one. And then they go, we can get you in at 4:30 p.m. and I'm just like, it's 5 in the morning and I'm gonna have to end up at the airport for 11 hours. At the time I wasn't upset. I was like, it is what it is. I was probably more upset with Leeds 50 than having to spend 11 hours sleeping in the food court, to be honest, which actually wasn't that bad because I was, by the way, right now I'm totally exhausted. I've got about 10 hours sleep across 3 days, not because I've been out partying or anything, but just go to bed late, bad sleep, get up early and rinse repeat, and then early flight this week. I've completely forgot what I was saying. But yeah, the food court was like sleeping in, because I think you got like that I don't know, that big food court there. You got like the sushi place. I think you got Macca's or something down in the Tullamarine Airport. But you got like cushioning area where I just would lay down, sleep, or try to sleep, get up. It's like going on the fridge, but there's a food court. So get up, get some food, get sushi, get a bar or something, get a spring roll, whatever I wanted, then go back to sleep pretty much. So for 11 hours in the airport. So yeah, I don't know, I must have listened to at least 2 hours of Craig David. I listened to about 5 hours of Supercoach content, and I did a few laps around the airport just to get the legs moving. So I'm a little bit tired. Yeah, I went to the desk. I'm like, oh, do you think it's a long wait, 11 hours basically. I'm like, oh, do you think you guys can get me if you guys get any cancellations, would you be able to let me know, so I can get an earlier flight? And they're like, Oh, nah, because it's made up some bullshit like, oh yeah, because people cancel usually too close to boarding, we have to close the gate, so it's a bit inconvenient for us. And I'm thinking, like, inconvenient for you. I'm in sleeping in the food court for 11 hours. So I was like, it was worth a shot, but oh boy, I think we'll talk Supercoach now. But that was my day, and it's 7:43 p.m. and I'm got to do the podcast as well. And as much as I love doing the podcast, I'm gonna struggle to stay awake. So I'll just stay hydrated, and hopefully they can do most of the talking. But it was an interesting weekend. It's lots of fun. Now defense, we did our trades. Got to reverse them because we just recorded the video and did our trades. So pretend you didn't see that and save a surprise for the end of the video. Doc hopefully bounces back. We have a few frauds in this team, and I think Ridley might be one. So they brought Brotu in for the extra runner, which is annoying. So I was watching the Essendon game. Ridley just sits back the whole time, and I think last quarter he had to play a bit more accountable because Zerk Thatcher went down. But they brought on the extra runner, and Redmond, Ambrosio, and I like McGrath. I think he's definitely natural at halfback. He's not a midfielder. I think they've figured that out now. So I liked his game, but they're the ones they're giving the ball to run and carry or getting the ball, while Ridley just sits back, takes intercepts, takes kick-ins. He's not aggressive at all. So I'm pretty... When I started this team, I looked at Ridley, I looked at Kelly, I looked at Darcy. I'm like, these have never really been my type of... I don't know why I have them in the team. They're not really picks I usually go for. But like Ridley came in late because I just wanted a cheap defender for when Elliot Yeo went down. I think Kelly a bit unlucky, and then Darcy just... I don't know. He looks so good in the preseason, so I just thought, like, yeah, he's back to his best from 2 years ago. That's what it looked like, and then we get this shit. So I don't know what's going on with him, but we'll speak about him. But yeah, I think look, he's turned up last week, so I think he'll be alright. But he might be a low 90s guy again. So I dropped a whole bunch of intercepts as well. So get St Kilda this week. You've got the short defense who've been giving up points. Nick Dacos, watching him at the MCG was time of my life. He's unbelievable. It's almost like he's playing like the prime Whitfield role, where you just follow where the ball is, and except like Dacos is a far better kick, and he kicks goals as well. So he's insane. So you have to get him in. I think he's not going to average 140 or whatever it is he's on now. He can probably do 110 in this role. Yeah, he kick-ins he goes for. He's just unbelievable. It's the only way to describe him. So he's great to watch. Ginby, McKenna, and Constable, I think they're just ticking along, doing their jobs. It's all good. Wilmot 68 is fantastic. So that'll give him a nice kick for cash gen. You'll make a quick 50k or something. So that's good. And Cowan, he's doing all right. I think he holds his spot. Laird bounced back. Vice captain him, fortunately. I was thinking about VCing Bont, but gee, I don't know. Bont... Bevo's been good for the Dogs, I think. Like, you can't take away what he's done at that club. I think he'll always be welcome there and whatnot. Or like he'll always be like a big deal at the Dogs. Like, he gave him so much, but I don't know what he's doing with playing Caleb Daniel 60% CBA and starting McRae in at full forward in the third quarter. I just felt sick watching that. Bevo has his favourites from what I read on Big Footy, and it's very clear that Caleb Daniel is one of them. I honestly think he's VFL player. His skills are overrated. He's liability defensively, and he's just not as good as he used to be. And they have Richards and Dale down back, and even Crozier can go alright back there. They don't really need a defensive liability in Daniel. They got capable kickers back there. It doesn't really affect Bont too much, but like McRae, like it's not unfathomable because it's Bevo, but it's ridiculous that that's happening. But anyway, I hope the Dogs bounce back because I love watching him play at their best, but it's not looking great. Green 106, probably wanted more, but it's whatever. Hopper 119, yeah, apologies to Jacob Hopper. He didn't look like Jacob Hopper of old, basically, so I was setting up to possibly trade him out this week if he looked poor again, but he looks very good. I think he might be injured, so he might miss it this week, but I think we'll just hold, so that should be all good. But yeah, I guess the argument for being concerned with Hopper was he hasn't shown anything good since before his injury, and I thought that maybe he's just not 100% with that knee yet, but he looked fine. He looked good out there, and he's a gun when he's on. It's just if he can fully get over that knee. So those worries I think are gone now. Hopefully he's all good, because I think he's got a knee issue at the moment that was pretty unlucky. He got caught in a tackle. I think it might have been Lairdy. I can't remember. But yeah, Warple and McKenzie both had a big CBA drop, with Day going up and Nash coming into the team, which was weird. I can understand Warple's dropping a little bit because they want to give more time to the young kids. But why would you drop McKenzie to 20% CBA? That makes no sense. Maybe he was playing too good and they want Harley Reid really bad, and they just said, well, you got to go play half forward. So that was weird. And now it's like, well, you want to, obviously, you're happy to field him if he's getting like these 50, 60 plus percent CBAs. But if he's getting 20% CBAs, well, I don't really want him on field. And I have no idea what they're going to do with him week to week. I think we'll probably field him this week. We'll probably lose Hopper, so we'll probably have to loophole Collins and Baker or something. Baker plays first. And then see how that goes. And we'll probably field McKenzie again, but yeah, just don't know what's going to happen with the CBAs. Finn Callahan. Oh, I forgot to go over our trades from last week. Brought in Dacos for Kelly. Trade out Liam Jones for Callahan. It's such a waste. All we had to do was go Chesser to Chandler. That was just obvious trade, but I think I liked Callahan's fixture over the next 5. Carlton a little bit difficult, but the 2 after really easy. Thought he was going to make a quick bit of money. Knows how to has no problem finding the pill, but I should have known this. I just sometimes your thinking it gets a bit clouded because of it's what you want to work for your team, and then you kind of forget about that Callahan is playing through 2 injuries. He's got dodgy shoulders and he's got a dodgy foot. And what happened? He copped a pretty innocuous hit to the shoulder region, and then he was, holding his shoulder and basically had 6 touches and basically didn't look the same for the whole game. Wasn't tackling at all, or like he had an opportunity to tackle, he didn't go for it probably because of the shoulder. So he might be playing injured here. 4th quarter, he got a fair bit of outside ball, but he turned over every ball, and it was just horrible to watch. So I don't really want to trade because he's going to make money if he plays one more at least, but we got to get Setterfield, we got to get Zeeble, we got to get rid of Shrek, we got to get Chandler. We got to figure out a plan here. And anyway, Ashcroft very good, bounce back. So yeah, happy with that. Last week I was like thinking, do we move him to the bench if he has a bad one again this week? But obviously not. So it's just one bad game. It's first game that can happen to anyone. So played very well. Collins is really good player. I thought 71 doesn't do him justice. I thought it should have been like an 85, 90. I kind of lucked into him because of Will Phillips laid out, but yeah, very happy with him, and he's going to make a fair bit of cash, so he looks really good. Baker does a few things and then goes missing for patches, and then Chesser is a problem. We got to get rid of him because he's just dead pick. Darcy, no good. Get me out of this. And then Rowan Marshall was good. Yeah, I think the ruck split wasn't great. He plays BJ Williams, so he's probably going to hit his break even, but all the other rucks are going up. Darcy's almost certainly going down unless he scores 180, which I guess he could against BJ. But in the long run, I want him out. And what's best for the team for the money is him out this week. It's the wrong week to do it, but we need to facilitate Zeeble and Setterfield. So we'll figure something out. Dunkley, Rosie, Taranto, Gordon, honestly don't care. It feels like 60, 70% of people have all of these guys, so whatever they do, that's fine. Taranto, oh my goodness, like they should get a helicopter company to sponsor him. Even times where he could drop punter, he just kicks the belly of the ball and it just does all sorts of movements in the air. So it's very strange that he does that a lot. I guess we knew that, but it's pretty bad. Probably want a bit more from Rosie, but I think he copped a bit of a head knock. I love watching Rosie play. CBA's dropped, maybe that was because of the head knock, but it's whatever. And then Tanner, it is what it is. I think when I did the video, one of the videos with Eno last week, and we kind of conceded that we're planning to get rid of Bruin. We kind of knew that, low TOG, low CBAs, the writing's on the wall here. Maybe we can just give us a decent score because he's still getting a bit of mid-time and he shit the bed pretty bad. So last week he was good in the midfield, then he got killed in the bad role, but this time in the midfield probably wasn't that good, but yeah, young player. Work rate's not up to scratch just yet. No outside game. Yeah, in hindsight, just didn't think hard enough about the pick, and yeah, just learn from your mistakes, I guess, and move on. And I guess the one more thing I want to say is I think it helps if you know how you play. So as in, like, it helps to know yourself a bit, because I know that in round one every year I overreact to everything. It's one score, but I had to keep reminding myself it's 1 week of data. It's 1 week of data. So, I was looking at, Horn Francis, Zeeble. I wasn't too sure about Setterfield, but now we know for sure that he's a great pick. Just because he had 3 contested last week. So it was a bit weird, had the only 50% CBAs in the match sim, and they didn't know whether they were going to throw him in other roles, but now it's very clear he's a core part of that inside mid rotation, and he can score very well with very high CBAs. So now I'm very convinced, but I guess that's what happened. That's why you want more data on these players. I was looking at Horn Francis, and I was at the game watching Horn Francis, and his work rate is not good enough. He doesn't get to enough contests. He had that lazy defensive effort. It's on all over Twitter as well. Not a great thing to see, but yeah, he's more like your forward half. When things are going his way, and he can get on top of the clearances, he'll score well. But I think it's a bit like Dangerfield and Petrarca, where he's going to need time to build his tank. But you can see the attributes are there, so he'll be a star, but just work rate's not quite there yet. And last week it was in the DT score. Played the best game of his career, played out of his mind, and he only scored 90 DT, 136 Supercoach. So I think, yeah, DT is probably a better reflection of work rate for midfielders, I guess, like their ability to get their hands on the ball. So yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd add that. So at least holding Braun, now we kind of understand. Now we know that Zeeble and Setterfield are the ones, and it's not Horn Francis. So, and the thing was, I was only planning to get one of Horn Francis or Zeeble, and now all of a sudden I'm getting Setterfield and Zeeble. So things have to, yeah, at least we got a bit of money to work with. She's all very good, don't need to say much on him. And then Green and Davey just ticking along. I think Stringer comes back, so I hope Davey holds his spot. But trades this week, well, Tanner has to go straight to Zeeble, so that's number one. It's a very easy one. The next one is, well, we need to get Setterfield, and how do we get Setterfield in? Well, this is the only way. Like, we're not trading Laird. Laird's our captain, so Setterfield, and then that gives us Darcy Cameron. I'm the first to admit I got a few things wrong this preseason, probably more than other preseasons, to be honest. But I guess Darcy Cameron, like, again, we was going into the season thinking that it was going to be a 50-50 split. When Cameron and Cox, Cox and Cameron, I think, was 55-45 in the back half of last year, something like that, in favour of Darcy Cameron, he averaged 89. So if they're doing that split, you think that's his floor, but they've, the way he's playing, they have to give him more time than Cox, I think. And his floor should be that 89. So maybe he goes to 65, 70%. I don't know. To me, he rocked way more than Cox on the weekend. So if he's doing that, I think at the price, he's worth the risk, because I hate hamstrings in preseason. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. But I just feel like at the price, I think it's worth the risk. So as much as I hate it, a bit of a sellout. Not trying not to pick in players that have interrupted preseasons, but I think it's just, you're considering this gets us Zeeble and Setterfield. I think it's just the right thing. It's what the team needs, so it'll pay itself back with how Zeeble and Setterfield go. And look, Darcy Cameron, he's had some soft matchups, but he looks really, really good. Honestly, I am running low, very low on energy, so I have a quick sip here. Yeah, this we'll be in bed fairly early tonight. But yeah, Darcy Cameron he was very good. Was at the game. He's gonna have, I think he had 16 contested. So obviously not gonna get that every week. But if he can do a 105, hold it down, and then be right cover for later. Hopefully he doesn't get injured or anything. And at that price, I'm happy with that. And yeah, Collingwood as well. They just look unbelievably good. So they're probably, they're flag favourites at the moment. So Yes, it'll be good to have, they'll get more of the Supercoach scoring or Supercoach pie or whatever it is. So that's what the team looks like. There's two things I'm not happy with. One, no Chandler, and two, Ridley. That's it. Everything else I'm pretty stoked with. It'd be nice to have LDU, but we don't really have a pathway to get him in. If Hopper isn't named, we'll loop Baker with Hollins. Yeah, if Hopper's not named. So I think next week probably do Ryan for Chesser, all going well, and then we'll just leave the team. We'll leave it at that. We might get like a Crozier and Bose, and even Stocker as well. Stocker I kind of overlooked. I thought he just turned it over so much in preseason, but he can find the pill no problem, and we knew that from these VFL numbers. So I wasn't really sure if it was best 22, but I think they seem to like him, so he's doing okay. But yeah, his dream team is much better than his Supercoach. So if Mackenzie's CBA's tank again, I can see people doing like a Mackenzie to Bose or something if they've got money. I would like to hold Mackenzie though. But yeah, with Bose as well, like what role is he going to play? Is he just going to play mostly half back? Because I think they threw him half forward for a bit, missed that goal. Plus, he's coming off a calf, so I already got Darcy Cameron, so that kind of stresses me out. So I think we'll just not trade and just, although like Bose could pay off big time, definitely, but I think we'll stick with Mackenzie, provided he gets more CBAs. And even then, they'll probably jump back up at some point. So I think that's the team. Again, this not Chandler is bothering me a lot. But I think what's best for the team, especially on field, is we get like Setterfield, Zeeble, Cameron. They're probably going to make 180k between them this week. Chandler probably makes, depends what he scores, but he could easily make like with a 60, he'll probably make like 80k or something like that. So anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.